Peace, peace, peace. What it is, your brother Tavon Sueno, aka the Orthodox More, wishing you all peace and blessings. And this morning, I'm pleased to bring to y'all an open political dialogue on the concept: is the orange man bad? Um, I'm sitting here with a couple brothers of mine that I love and respect that heard me talking on a program on my brother Yeshub's channel where many things are being discussed on politics and whatnot. And so they wanted to pull me up on a couple of views I had, and potentially just you know what I'm saying, talk about all things politics in this conversation and whatnot. And so just to be clear, family, this is going to be a real clean, respectful dialogue. I got no animus for either one of these brothers. They can say whatever they want, talk about whatever they want. I'm a real open book when it comes to politics. I love politics. I study politics. Been doing so very much since I was 18 years old. I've worked on political campaigns. I love voting. I talk about voting all the time to people who know me. Um, so one thing I love is vigorous dialogue on the topic, right? So I don't care if we vehemently disagree on the topic. I will let you take off land. We can go into the weeds on everything. I don't take nothing about this stuff personal whatsoever. So with that being said, I would like to bring my brothers JT Mac and Elder Tim to the stage so we can start this dialogue. What's up, brother?
What's happening?
Hey. Hopefully
Excuse
I'm
me.
coming through okay.
Yeah. Both of y'all coming through just fine.
Greetings to your audience, and I'm just trying to. I just pulled up the YouTube video, so I'm trying to share it right now.
You got it, man.
Yeah, like you said, I'm Elder Tim. Y'all gotta forgive my background. I don't know how to get rid of it, but yeah, I'm just, we're just gonna talk about a couple of things and I'll try to ask a couple of questions because that I'm kind of curious about because I am on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to politics as far as Trump is concerned. And I do have a couple of questions. So, we're just going to dialogue.
So while Brother Jay is pulling up the video, I do believe, Tim, that you were the one who heard the dialogue and alerted Brother JT Mac to it. So if you can, while he's pulling it up, let us know what you heard that made you want to spark the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, my interest really is in, well, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. When I dialogue with people, Lord, y'all, I can't answer this phone because it's dead. This thing is dead, so you're gonna hear it. I can't cut it off. Nothing. Maybe I should just throw it in there. That'll get rid of the sound anyway. But anyway, y'all forgive me. But when I dialogue with people that support Trump, it seems that they never answer my questions. They always have questions for me. So I wanted to talk to people who wanted to have a real, honest conversation about Donald Trump and the Trump administration as a whole. Because I'm intrigued by the fact that there are certain things that are happening in this country that people either don't see, don't care to see, or just don't care at all. They're gonna follow who they follow. Now I'll be honest with you. I'm not knocking anybody for whatever reason they voted one way or the other, but I would like honest dialogue into as far as, can you see some of these things that I'm actually seeing that bothers me? Can you see that? That's kind of the direction I wanted to go, because I heard a couple of you brothers saying that y'all supported Trump, and one of the brothers, and it sounded like you brothers are into the other brother anyway. He has a business or something, so it has something to do with his business, and I understand that, because I was once a George Bush. I voted for George Bush a few years ago. I also voted for Obama, so I go either way. But I'm bothered by the Trump administration, very bothered.
Yeah. So to be 100% clear, I'm a 1,000,000% political independent. I don't back any parties, right? I back policies, etc. Whatnot. So I'll go in on whatever party, whatever administration you want to go in on. It's all gravy, fam. Did you hear my question to the panel when I was on with you, Shub, where I asked, do you think we would be better off if we split our votes like we used to prior to civil rights, back when it was more close, like a 55-45 split, when we Republican Democrat versus wholly giving our, or almost majority, like almost like 90% plus giving our votes to one party?
Yeah, I did hear that. And the only problem I have is I don't know if some people distinguish between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party before the 64-65 civil rights era, and how do we honestly approach the change that took place within those two parties. But I do agree in voting split ticket, because like I say, I wasn't always voting Democrat. I have a problem with this administration. I don't have a problem necessarily with the Republican Party, because I was a part of it at one time. But and I voted split ticket plenty of times back in the day. Excuse me. But I don't think that this administration that we have currently today, I don't see no good in it. I don't see any good in it. And I would like for those who do support this administration to tell me, why should I support anything that they're doing? Because I'm telling you, I don't know not one policy that these guys support that I can support.
That's what's up. Hey, brother Jay, you need me to pull up a video for you, bro, man?
Oh no, I was just letting him get it out. I'm ready. Let me pull.
Because I don't see it.
Okay,
sharing or anything like that.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good. All is well.
Yeah, I was just listening.
He said he got captivated by the combo. That's what's up.
Okay, yes, I know. Here we go. Let me know if that's coming through.
I see something. There we go. Let me go ahead and throw my banner up right quick. Fair use family.
The Vice President of the United States of America, in a world that is having so many problems, has been tasked with the monumental challenge of removing things that white people don't like from museums. That's where we are in the United States in 2025. This is where we are. This is all the progress that we made. And this is what I'm going to say, Sharif, you said it earlier. I said that white America hates Black America because we are proof of the American lie. We are the longest standing proof of the American lie. When Russia was really trying to attack the United States in a propaganda war, it was very easy, because all they can say is they promise you guys freedom and justice all around the world, the American way. But look at how they treat their Negroes. And here's the pictures to show it. And here's dogs biting people. And here's the fire hoses and all that. And the president, knowing that was a problem back then, said, y'all got to stop this. Called up, governors in the South and said,
but because of the image.
Yeah. Because we can't have this going around the world, because Russia is telling the entire world that we're not who we say we are. And it wasn't that they wanted to become who they said they were. It's just that they didn't want the world to know the lie. We are the constant reminder as of today. When you hear that really hostile tone that they take when they say Black, or when they think about Black things, when they say BLM, and DI, whatever, when you hear that hostility dripping in those words, remember that hostility that you hear is the hostility of King Leopold. Remember that is the hostility that you hear of Thomas Jefferson's notes on Virginia. Know that hostility is the same hostility that turned on the fire hoses, that did sick out the dogs, that put a knee onto George Floyd's neck and had a cold grimace on the face as he was passing away. That is the King Leopold lineage that we are witnessing witnessing today. In 2025, you have President Leopold of the United States telling you, we are going to bleach the history so that you Negroes never have life again, so that the future doesn't remember you, so that you will be an artifact that we will study in the future of how you get rid of a people like we did in Egypt and Mali and other places in the world. So people need to start connecting dots.
This is a metal roof, and this is a metal roof. And you guessed it, this is a metal roof.
It is Freedom Friday, and you are still not free.
Welcome to Freedom Friday. It is Friday, and you're still not free, but hopefully you're freer after this hour with Ish, Sharif, and me. Today, we're talking about the White House executive orders that are coming out that are driving me absolutely crazy because they're important, but they're not getting enough attention. The first one is the White House initiative to promote excellence and innovation at historically Black colleges. And I'm surprised by this one, to be very honest with you, because we're on this anti-DEI kick right now. But according to the Independent, the president is having a very bad time when it comes to all of these executive orders. We'll come back to the White House one on HBCUs in a second. But there are three that federal judges now have kicked out. So on April 24th, 3 federal judges across the country dealt major blows to Donald Trump's agenda within a 90-minute span. The first one was a judge who blocked executive orders targeting sanctuary cities, meaning if your cities have kind of pro-migrant policies, the federal government will come after you as a city. And this was going to be an attack on democratic cities, so-called democratically run cities. The second judge ruling was knocking down the anti-DEI stuff. So the president had threatened to take money away from schools. Any schools teaching what he considered to be DEI were going to lose their money. And the judge in that case said, this is a textbook viewpoint discrimination case, and it likely violates the First Amendment. This is the president of the United States who ran on a party line of free speech, violating the First Amendment in cases that he doesn't like. And the third one was he was trying to pass sweeping changes to the way that we elect people, our elections. And it was calling for proof of citizenship during voter registration and some other barriers for people just to have free kind of access to voting, to their vote. So the two executive orders that we want to talk about today, the first one is reifying the support of the historically Black colleges. And it can sound like a big thing, but it's convoluted. I don't want to get into it too much around the specifics and the technicalities of it, because I'll just give you a for instance. This was the same headline in his first term as president. And what he had done was he had taken all the money out of the HBCU budget because it zeroed out. He just zeroed it out because it expired. It was under an Obama era policy of giving this money that had an expiration date, and it expired while he was president, while Trump was president. And when it came to his attention that he had taken all the money out of it, he was convinced to put the money back in. So when he put the money back in, the news headline was, Trump gives $200 million to the HBCUs. So that's where we are. That's the type of cynicism that we have to have when we read this new headline of, he signed something that's pro-HBCU. Anyways, every president, Black and white, every president, Republican and Democrat, whatever, have continuously, since the establishment of historically Black colleges, have seen that as a federally protected, a protected entity. So this is nothing new. So I wouldn't jump down about this. But the one I would jump up and down, and since I have two educators here, is the last one that I'll talk about: reinstating common sense school discipline policies. Now, Sharif and Ish, when I say that, what's wrong, brothers, with reinstating common sense in school discipline policies? I'll just tell you really quickly what it is. President Trump issued an executive order aimed at eliminating the influence of equity-based discipline policies in schools, arguing they endanger student safety by prioritizing racial statistics over actual behavior. The order criticizes previous guidance under the Obama and Biden administrations that linked racial disparities in school discipline to potential civil rights violations, claiming such policies force schools to ignore misconduct to avoid federal scrutiny. It directs the Department of Education and other agencies to issue new guidance focused on strictly behavior-based discipline and to investigate the role of nonprofits promoting equity-driven practices. Here's where I'll end. That last part is very important because he has another executive order coming soon that will punish nonprofits for promoting DEI. So any nonprofit in the United States will be able to lose their status under the IRS if they promote, and in this case, equity-based, equity-driven practices. You can lose your status as a nonprofit.
Thinking we start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
Here's the most interesting weight loss.
Now, I said that was going to be the last thing I was going to say, but I always got one more thing to say. So here's my one more thing. This is why elections make a difference. And to everybody who told me last year that there would be no difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, this is why elections make a difference, because there's no world in which anybody from one party would be going after the Black Museum in DC, threatening to take schools' money away if they promote equity and diversity, and so on. Anyways, that's my soapbox. Brothers, let's start with this one. Let's start with the discipline one. First of all,
Hey, you wanna pause it up
what do you
right there,
think
Jay?
about that? Yeah.
So let's take this issue by issue, so I get less likely to get hit with the strike and all kind of things.
I had my mic turned down.
No, you straight. You
I'm
straight.
simply talking to myself. No. I actually had wanted to stop at a point, but I thought, man, let me let it keep going because I wanted to.
Whenever you want to pause it up, we can pause it up. You know what I'm saying? And I'll definitely let you know.
No, well, I was just going to play the first 10 minutes. I was going to pay an extra $5 because Tim was at the store, but I had let me make sure I find it here. Oh, that's not the right one.
I think HBCUs is a great place to start.
Yeah, I got. Oh, you know what? I got an article about the HBCUs, but I'm trying to figure out what did I do with the dang on thing, man. Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead. If you had some commentary about the HBCUs, I need to find my article about the HBCUs.
Well, sure. So first and foremost, shout out to HBCUs. My sister's graduated from Alabama A&M. Shout out to A&M. I have a very mixed feeling about HBCUs and whatnot, right? But in terms, I'll just speak on the concept in general until Brother Jay comes back. But so I think that so for instance, I was listening to the brother there talking about like the federal funding for the HBCUs or whatnot, or like money being taken or given, etc. whatnot, right? And the fact that they're federally funded bothers me, period. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I think the HBCUs, and I'll say it like this, like I don't mind them being federally funded. Here's what I'm saying. To be clear, what bothers me about the HBCUs is they are a great canary in the coal mine. They are a great social commentary on how much we do not support ourselves. It's amazing to me how much our own millionaires, our own actors, our own athletes, our own politicians that do not support the HBCUs and whatnot, right? It used to trip me out. I used to ask my pop, like I was like, so what would the community look like if we only went to HBCUs, like in terms of athletics and whatnot, right? For instance, like what would it look like if the top people in the community weren't going to like other D1 schools or whatnot, right? For athletics, etc. Right? Why would they want to over an HBCU, etc.? Like used to have all these conversations with my pop all the time and whatnot. I'm bothered by an expectation of anyone to take care of anyone, right?
Yeah, that
definitely bothers me. And so like I came up in a completely do for self family and whatnot. We made things happen with our hands and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't like. So when I was like watching Deion Sanders like coaching at HBCU whatnot, and my man had to cut his own grass and whatnot for the field. I was like, bro, we're doing it like that right now. Like I was watching a whole documentary they were doing on how much he had to actually do and carry stuff on his back to make that program work. I'm like, yo, that's wild to me, fam. Like it should have been none but a couple of phone calls to a couple of rich homies or whatnot, right? You know what I'm saying? And there should be like an endowment program already, like embedded in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like so, I'll leave it right there. Like it's like the HBCUs are a soft spot for me because like there's a commentary that I don't think that a lot of people talking about. But go ahead.
Well, let me ask you a question before you start, JT.
Go ahead.
Would you say that the HBCUs is the ultimate do for yourself because of the simple fact of the discrepancies we have when we're trying to send our kids to colleges? These what they call them, D1, whatever they call them, not D1, but those type of colleges. And if it wasn't for affirmative action, a lot of our kids are being shut out of those programs. So we had to have a program for ourselves. So would you say that the HBCUs are the ultimate do for self program?
No. So, and I'll say it like this, like, so it could have been like, my father went to school before things were desegregated and whatnot, right? And he told me he had a handful of brothers and sisters. His youngest brother was the only one that went to a desegregated school and whatnot. And he told me flat out like that, like he would prefer to go back to school. Like if he had to choose, that he would still go to school. Well, he hated one aspect of it, right? Like, so he hated certain cultural things that didn't get checked in the schools or whatnot, but he also loved certain things that culturally did get checked in the schools, right? Like, so he told me that he had a black teacher that saw that he was intelligent and refused to give up on him, right? And if it wasn't for her, that he would have never went into the military, he would have never become like an electrical engineer, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And that he saw her in the community. It was a community kind of thing, all kind of stuff, right? And going to the concept of of how we looked at things after segregation and whatnot, or desegregation and whatnot, like it switched up. So this thing of like, well, we were left out of programs, et cetera, so therefore we had to do this, right? The having to do this, you said it like it was a secondary thing, right? And to me, that's the issue, right? So in my father's time, it was the primary thing, not the secondary thing. And so it not being the primary is what I'm talking about. So there's nobody that raises their kids and says, like I was saying, like we don't, as a community, we don't only send our kids to the HBCUs, right? We send them everywhere. We send them to the HBCUs as a secondary, not a primary. They're not getting the cream of the crop, fam. They're getting the crumbs.
Well, let me qualify my question, because I'll be honest with you. And I'm gonna be totally honest throughout this whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 kids. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are college graduates. Both of them have their master's degrees, and one of them going for a doctorate right now. I purposely suggested to both of them that they do not go to a HBCU. So I understand what you're saying, because I did want my kids to get the best of the best, but yet and still I support HBCUs because I know the purpose.
Facts. Oh no, I'm right there with you. Like, no, all day. Like, so I don't want them going anywhere, fam.
Yeah.
Please don't get it twisted. I actually want them to do better and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But I want them to do better off of self-subsistence, off of it. So for instance, right? Like, so I grew up enthralled with like the Tuskegee Institute, right? And George Washington Carver and Booker T Washington, like, fam, like those, like I grew up on that type of thing, right? So to me, that's an ultimate do for self concept, right? And I wish if the HBCUs ran the way that my man's was trying to run, oh my God, yes, that would be the ultimate do for self concept, right? But that's what I'm saying. We don't, as a community, that's not how we choose to run those schools and whatnot, right? And so like I haven't like, so if whether the government gives me $1 billion not, I don't care, right? That's not their job, is to fund my school like that, right? Because if so, then I gotta expect them to fund everybody's like that, you know what I'm saying, to that extent, right?
But they do fund some of your they fund out, like Harvard receives government funds. I mean, all schools receive
I'm with
some
that
type of government fund, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying they don't, right? I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying the expectation of receiving more than average, right? Versus like, so here's what I'm saying. My expectation is more so that we organize, like, we got more black millionaires in this country than you can shake a stick at. Yeah. It's a literal shame that we would even need to even think about asking the government for an extra dollar than what they give everyone else, right? It's an absolute shame that we can't get, like, fam, we should be able to just walk through three sports leagues and get our stuff taken care of. You understand what I'm saying? How many zeros is on these basketball players' checks now? Baseball players' checks now? Football players' checks now? Huh? How many black, forget millionaires, how many black billionaires we got in the country, fam? I remember at one point in time we had 4. At least 4. That's what I was like. Anyway.
Well, you know, I don't get me wrong. I understand what you're saying, but let's well, I hate to say let's deal with reality, but I put it like this: I have a daughter who worked for Howard University, and I can almost guarantee you she's listening to me right now. So I can't deny some of the things that you're saying, Orthodox, Brother Moore. I can't deny some of the things that you're saying, because she has her own frustrations being.
See, that's what I'm saying. I know people like what you're talking about. Like when they're like, so when I hear sisters talking about like, nah, man, there's asbestos on the walls and there's roaches, this, and the third, or like, like, man, young cats. Like I know the young heads that was like, nah, we was going to check the schools out, and we were like, oh man, like the paint was falling off the walls and blah blah blah. It was water leaks here. I was like, oh, we're doing, and I'm almost wondering, is like, are we afraid to go ask our own people for the money? Right. Like, because it should, like, so for instance, like if I go to like BYU, for instance, right? Like this is a very similar concept. We got a religious group of people who got together and created their own collegiate systems and raised them to the ranks of being D1. You know what I'm saying? Like you got BYU in Utah, you got it in Idaho, you got it in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? Right. When you go there, fam, it ain't nothing close to. And when it comes to, like, in terms of total money, they get a lot less money in this country than we do, right? So, but I know this, they're not afraid to ask it. Like, they expect their own to donate. You know what I'm saying? They're told like, y'all better put up on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's expected you're gonna donate to the college. You know what I'm saying? We don't like so for ones like you're saying, you know what I'm talking about. So you got people in, like, family in the system. Like, we're not, like, how many of us sit at the table like and on purpose donate to the HBCUs? Right. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing it like that. When we go to church, when we go to our churches and whatnot, right? Again, like the Mormons, like, again, if I go to any Mormon spot around this country, fam, like any Mormon church house, they're donating a certain percentage to them, to them joints. If I go to the black churches, are they doing that? Not so much, right? And so that, there might be a disconnect there as well.
You're hitting on a very touchy subject for me, because I was once a senior pastor, and when it comes to monies, we our people can be pretty stingy. But I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna stop right there, because I want JT to come on in here and save this conversation, because it might not be going the way you want it to. Because I'm gonna tell you, my daughter is here right now. She works for Howard University. If she come here and get to talking, we might have to just go and shut this thing down. So I understand what you're saying as far as the HBCUs are concerned, but yet and still, I would still say they are so necessary for our community.
Yes. Oh, agreed.
First of all, we've been priced out of a decent education. You know, some of these top schools charging you $67,000 $60,000-$70,000 for 2 semesters, not 2 semesters, but 2 years. So I think it's necessary, and we just have to, as a people, we just have to do better for our HBCUs, you know what I mean? But yeah, when you start talking about roaches and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I've heard about all that, you know.
I'm sharing my screen more.
There you go. You got it.
Okay. And to you guys' point, yeah, I agree that it would be cool. It would be nice if the Black community in general, supported the bulk of the needs of the HBCUs. But I want to say that it's not because of a lack of effort. There are plenty of campaigns requesting support for HBCUs. I used to listen to Tom Joyner Morning Show every day, man, back in the 90s and 2000s. And they always promoted HBCUs, always try to raise funds for HBCUs, always try to get Black folk to, donate to HBCU. Same thing. Roland Martin does the same thing. So there are voices out there who try to get people to participate, and for whatever reason, it just ain't happening. Not like it used to back in the day, But I just wanted to throw that caveat. And as mentioned by Elder Tim, other universities do get funds, but how much? What is the percentage, and how much? How much is government funds versus private funds? I guess that's the question you're asking,
right? And to the point I was making, just to be clear, like so again, I have no issue with the schools getting the public funds and whatnot. The thing about it is, like, so if the HBCUs did not receive the public funds, they would cave for the lack of support we don't give them. That's the point I'm bringing up on that.
Right. But I just wanted why he brought up the funding, because Donald Trump loves to exaggerate and lie a lot. And this article from PolitiFact, excuse me, it mentions that. So it says President Trump exaggerated his contributions to historically Black colleges and universities during his final presidential debate, claiming he saved the minority institutions when he signed a bill to permanently extend a stream of federal funding beyond 2019. According to the story, Trump on stage with Vice President Biden, HBCUs were repeatedly sending representatives to meet him in the White House. They kept coming, Trump said, and when he asked why, they told him their schools had no funding, in quotations. So here's Trump. President Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. I mean, Trump said in October 22, 10-year long-term funding, and then I gave them more money than they asked for because I said, I think you need more. But I saved historically Black colleges and universities. Well, the truth is, when Trump signed a bipartisan Future Act in 2019, he did make permanent $255 million in annual funding for minority serving colleges, including roughly $85 million earmarked as mandatory funding for historical Black colleges and universities under a Title III program. But it's inaccurate for Trump to claim he saved HBCUs or that they had no funding before him. The Trump campaign did not respond. So basically, Trump signed the bill, the bipartisan bill that Congress passed to give permanent funding to HBCUs. That's pretty much the end of that. But I don't want to go into any more of that. So that's just one thing. We can get back on schedule here. So
yeah, I can definitely dig that. To be clear, so I'm turning 43 this year, and I can't remember a single election in my lifetime to where politicians have not over exaggerated their underperformance in our community. Is that what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. But to say Barack Obama wouldn't give them money, and like, come on, man. Every president, like was pointed out, every president, Republican, Democrat, but signed bills to fund HBCUs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But to the story that he consistently talks about, What sickens my stomach about the whole thing is that he's actually right about the fact that they actually have to come that they were coming every year hat in hand. You know what I'm saying? Asking for money like that, begging, like literally damn near begging for money, right? And so I like for them to be in that situation, I like that makes me mad. Like that, like him being able to say that is like a failure for us as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's even able to say that I contributed to y'all getting more money, like you shouldn't have, like none of y'all should have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be us, right? That's again, that's my 2 cents. And if y'all go, you feel free to go in on whatever president you want to and whatever they did on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for instance, like when Barack Obama was withholding certain money from black farmers or whatnot, right? I was beefing on that too, right? So I got no issue going on whatever y'all want to, but yeah, my basic position on that is, like I said, my entire life I have yet to see a federal election to where the politicians do not overrepresent their their underperformance in our community.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, just like in Trump's first term, when you mentioned black farmers, not only black farmers but farmers as a whole were squeezed. Well, they're squeezed even worse now than black farmers are.
Yeah,
you know. But I think and I follow a channel of a young lady and her father who has a farm down south, and they said one of the main things that black farmers learned a long time ago is not to be dependent upon the government grants,
exactly,
government subsidies, like a lot of farmers are, because so black farmers try to, you know, they not only do they network with each other and they find other other opportunities and sources to sell their products. So that's where the farming industry as a whole, though, is definitely under attack. But go ahead, brother Tim, you wanted to say something, or did you want to, Tim? You want to start us off and walking us through history?
We are. I mean, actually, we're doing exactly what I was, you know, what I thought we would do. Just, you know, throw topics off one another. And being that we're mentioning farmers, I would like to know how has the tariffs affected the farming business as far as imports, exports, and stuff like that? Has it been a positive or a negative effect on farmers?
Negative.
I mean, because we all agree that it's black farmers have always had a problem dealing with the federal government, but the last administration created the ability for black farmers to they provided a loan for them to be able to get, because the last one that was made available to farmers by the Trump administration, black farmers didn't get to participate in that. So the Biden administration turned around and formed a program where black farmers could get loans for their crops or this, that, and other. But guess what happened? White farmers sued. The white farmers sued because they thought, and I wish I had all my stuff. I'm just like y'all said, we just shoot from the hip right now. But yet and still, if anybody want to look this up, they can look this up. The white farmers sued because they said they should have right to those funds as well. But it wasn't important to the white farmers the fact that the black farmers were being pushed out of the loan program based on how many trees they may have on land and this, that. They were pushed out of the last program that was provided by the Trump administration. Nobody had a problem with it then. But all of a sudden, when Biden turned around and tried to fix the situation, now all of a sudden the white farmers have a problem. But now they all have a problem. Why? Because these tariffs are doing these farmers something terrible. You know what I'm saying? Because the tariffs are too high. It's affecting it's affecting their bottom line businesses because of the simple fact that Trump promised that he would lower prices, and when you raise tariffs, you're doing exactly the opposite. You're not lowering the prices, you're raising the prices on people, because of course the businesses, they're going to take those tariffs, the cost, and they're going to apply it to the customer. And then what happens? It affects the GDP. How do we know that it affected the GDP? Go check out the last GDP report. Go check out the last one. 0.3% in the negative. So I like to know, I see a lot of people trying to say that the tariffs is going to do us some good eventually in order to bring jobs back to America. But how many years is that going to take? Is that going to take wrecking the economy first? Is that going to take wrecking all kinds of businesses that depends on these imports and exports? I mean, it don't make no sense to me, because the narrative have changed now. Because first the tariffs is going to bring back jobs. Now we got to suffer a little bit before good days ahead. In other words, that's the promise by the Trump administration.
Well, not only would it destroy the economy, but we don't have manufacturers. How do I say this? There are some things that we import that we do not make here. There are some things we import here to the United States.
There's a lot of things we import that we don't
right.
make here.
And there are some things we couldn't, and there are some things we couldn't afford to import here, because if we made it here, people wouldn't be able to afford to purchase them. So there's a reason we get some cheap, for lack of a better word, there's a reason.
Put an address on it. Put what kind of items are you talking
about? Okay.
Just roughly, you get a general.
Well, give you an idea. This ain't really cheap, but imagine if iPhones were made here, how much they would cost.
Automobiles. Not one automobile has a complete
part.
Parts are completely made in America. Impossible. We're living in a global economy. Businesses, we living in a global economy to the point to where most businesses would not survive if we just totally went America only. That America only is a made up concept now.
Yeah, it is. Because for another example, Walmart, which Walmart went and checked the president. I don't know if y'all know that, but if Walmart,
I got comments.
For people that shop at Walmart, you get your clothes, you get your items, and you get your things at Walmart, and Walmart has some reasonable prices. If Walmart did not get imports, if Walmart did not get imports, and number one, the shelves would be empty, because a lot of the stuff that they sell, is not from here. And if it was made here, you would not be getting these those nice little prices that you get in these $20, $15, $20 shirts. And dude, some of our, I hate to say this because I'm not trying to advertise for Walmart, but I worked there in my remodeling, but they got the Vital eggs, some of the best organic eggs for $5. I mean, you can't. I'm sorry, but anyway, my point is that if these stores, these merchants were selling items to American consumers, and everything was made here, the cost would be astronomical. There's a reason we have imports. There's a reason we don't make everything here. There's a reason for that. And to say, oh, well, there's a trade deficit. Well, the only trade deficit is because we don't make those things here for a reason. And that's okay. But on the flip side.
What reason is that? Just so everyone knows we're on the same page.
Because of cost. I mean, you ask the average business what it will cost to make certain products here or make, you know what I'm saying? But
in the bottom, go ahead. I'm tripping. I
was gonna say, and some people say, well, why not America first? I mean, because if we made everything here, it would not be affordable. Then number two, some of these manufacturers that they're wanting to bring back to the United States, guess what? Some of them if they were to do that, guess what they're going to be? A lot of them be robotics, man. They wouldn't be employed. They wouldn't be people running those. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind too, as well. But
what, and
Go
you know,
ahead,
the
Joe.
bottom line is, man, the bottom line is everybody, I mean, and I'm not a business person. I don't know that much about, I don't have my own business, but the idea of supply chains make a lot of sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And as far as the supply chains are concerned, just about every business that's worth is salt is receiving something from another country, because we live in a global economy. I mean, if you open a business and you want that business to be American only, you're shorting yourself. You know what I'm saying? As far as money is concerned, you want to make as much money as possible. If you have a supply chain that begins in China, you know what I'm saying, and all of a sudden they put tariffs, they outprice you with tariffs, all of a sudden your supply chain is interrupted. Your supply, most small business can't afford for their supply chains to be interrupted because they're a small business. You interrupt their supply chains, that place is going out of business. I mean, do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I love where this conversation is going, because again, I'm a policy head, right? Like, I don't care about parties, I care about policy. When nothing, trade policy is one thing I get into a lot. So what I'd like to do here is Brother JT Mac has the video up. How about we play this video from this farmer, and then when we're done, we bring it right back to this trade policy conversation and the tariffs and whatnot, because I got a question for y'all about tariffs.
Yeah.
I got myself muted again, man. I'm talking to myself.
He was going in. We couldn't hear none of it.
But no, yeah, let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Let's hear what farmers got to say about how Trump's policies are affecting them. Here we go.
Also, everybody says in the comments, Project 2025, didn't you read that? That's his platform.
Hey, Skylar, my name's Will Westmoreland, and I'm a farmer down in Southwest Missouri. And I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that I am not an FAFO kind of guy. We probably disagree with each other on everything political, but there's a very specific reason why people are getting upset with you. And I wanted to explain that to you if you'd be willing to listen to an older guy kind of walk you through the process. Now, I'm not an FAFO guy because I know what's going to happen to poor people, the elderly, children, single moms, and over 250 million people every night around the world that go to bed hungry if the American farmer and rancher is run out of business because of Trump's policies. And that's what I want to explain to you tonight if you'll listen to me. I also wanted to let you know I sent you a private message. And if you ever want to get on the phone and you want to talk about the issues that Trump is forwarding that are bad for agriculture, I'd be willing to do that, and I'd be willing to listen to your arguments as well. I also want to let you know that I've been a political consultant for over 30 years. I want to be right up front about that. I do that in addition to farming. And I want you to know a lot of younger people don't know, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but more of an educational way. A lot of younger people don't know that right-wing talk radio and news, the pundits, the talking heads, and right-wing talk radio, et cetera, have been working for over 40 years to develop in rural people exactly the kinds of ideas that you have in your head, that all politicians are crooks, that they're all the same, that you can't trust traditional media, that anything you hear that comes out of Washington, D.C. or New York or the New York Times or CBS News, that it's all a lie. And they did this on purpose, and they started with Ronald Reagan. We used to have what's called a fairness doctrine in this country, where if you were a radio station or a television station and you were using the public airwaves to present a message, we had a fairness doctrine where you were required by law to share the other side of the story. And President Ronald Reagan, who was president when I was in high school and a little bit younger than that, had the fairness doctrine eliminated. He had it taken out of the books. And there was a specific reason for that. It was designed so that organizations like Fox News and right-wing talk radio could start spreading the lie that all mainstream media was bad. Now, this was during the time of Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, all the other news heads that we had out there that were highly respected. but it was a strategy to make it so that the airwaves no longer had to present an unbiased case. And then these right-wing media sources like Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, et cetera, began pouring it on to rural America. You can't trust politicians. You can't trust the news. And what they did is they focused on destroying the trust in these institutions so that they could replace it with another institution. And they did that. They replaced it with Fox News. They replaced it with right-wing talk radio. And I can't tell you how many times when I was growing up, when I was your age, I'd walk into a job site or be on a farm and I would hear right-wing talk radio blaring on the radio all day long. And then after they had destroyed our faith in media institutions in rural America, they then turned their guns toward the government itself. And they began building in us a distrust of government organizations. And Skylar, here's the facts, okay? You can look this up on your own, but these are the facts. Rural America uses more welfare than the blue cities do. Rural America needs more help feeding our children. We need more help keeping our hospitals open. And guys like you and I, farmers out there that grow row crops or do agroforestry or raise cattle, we take welfare too. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we can't control the cost of our inputs. We can't control the cost of what we sell our products for. We got to pay for shipping both ways, as Kennedy said. But the reality of the situation is they were able to instill in us the idea that the government money coming to us was okay and was a good thing, but the government money going everywhere else was a scam or a sham or communistic or socialistic, etc. So it reached a fever pitch finally where a lot of rural people, over 70% of rural farmers and ranchers, only believe the Fox Newses and the talk radio. And when they came to you and told you that Trump wasn't going to implement Project 2025 and that he didn't have anything to do with it, you believe that. And you're not alone. All I'm here to tell you is that you were lied to. I'm not asking you to admit you were wrong. I'm not telling you you effed around and found out, because I don't want to see you lose your farm. And if there's anything I can do to help you not lose your farm, I'd be happy to do it. But in the distrust that you built up for government over time, and due to the fact that you didn't think mainstream media was reliable anymore, and you began listening to the news sources that tried to convince you every day that Project 2025 was not a Trump deal, even though many, many people on his campaign worked for Project 2025, they put it together, they helped write it. There was an entire section on agriculture. And in that section on agriculture, they specifically say they're going to cut out programs like this. Then they're going to cut out crop insurance. And Donald Trump is on record, my friend. And Skylar, look this up. Don't take anything I'm telling you at face value. You look it up. That's the difference between me and a lot of people on here. Check what I've said. Make sure I'm not lying to you. But Donald Trump is on record saying that corporate farming is better than small family farms and ranches. And Skylar, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to corporatize agriculture. And I'm not talking about when you and I go out and put together an LLC so that we can get the tax benefits and the protections from liability that come with that. I'm talking about big ag corporations in Wall Street buying up family farms and ranches as they go out of business so that they can turn it into just another investment. In the last 10 years, we've broken every single record in regard to the number of farms and ranches being bought up by investment companies in the United States. And I'd be happy to share all of that data with you. But my friend, I think the worst thing that they did to us in rural America is they convinced us somehow to place the culture wars over our own well-being. And what do I mean by that? Brother, when I was young, you didn't care what anybody did in their bedroom. Gay, lesbian, trans, whatever. That was their life. And the only way the law changed was just to say that you can't discriminate against those people when you're.
So, quick question. Do y'all have an issue with tariffs as a policy, or are the tariffs too high in your understanding, in your opinion?
I personally, I don't know if can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. I have a problem with someone who doesn't know what someone who doesn't know what they're doing with tariffs.
Hey, you
someone
can
who's
say whatever you want to.
someone
So
who's
you're
obsessed with tariffs, someone who's been obsessed with tariffs for decades, someone who's how do I say this? Someone who I consider to be uncurious, intellectually uncurious, doesn't he he's an anti-researcher, a standard bearer for and he's a standard bearer for anti-intellectualism. Let me put it that way. Anti-common sense. He don't read. I mean, in his first administration, they talked about how many times he wouldn't read the reports that they would give him. I forgot what they call it, the briefings, presidential briefings. He didn't want to read them. It was too much and blah, blah, blah. They had to put it in crayon or pictorials and all kind of silly stuff. So the guy just goes off of his own gut feeling about things, and he doesn't care about facts. He doesn't care about. So I'm saying all that to say that I have a problem with someone who, with this kind of power being in the hands of someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and he's wrecking the economy with his tariffs, and to the point where you had business leaders go to the White House and say, "Hey, you got to stop this," and that's when they put this goofy 90-day pause on. But that's just 90 days. Who knows when he's going to start this mess again? So that's my issue with tariffs. If tariffs are used properly, which they have been in the past, yeah, that's fine. But what Trump is doing, they tried to do this back in the late 1920s, and it was a disaster. And history is repeating itself. Go ahead.
The Smoot-Hawley Act, and the effects it had on the Great Depression. It didn't start the Great Depression, but it made it worse. But no, I don't have a problem. I mean, obviously, I don't have a problem with tariffs, because that's just a part of business. But Trump think the tariffs is the end all be all to bringing back jobs to America, and he think by doing that you raise tariffs on our imports and our exports. Should I say? Because if you raise tariffs on imports, of course they gonna raise tariffs on you as well. You know what I'm saying? And that affects small businesses in a negative way. And not only that, you see how the markets are reacting. The markets react to every little thing he says about the tariffs. But here's the deal. We had a 10% tariff on China, which was people thought was too high already. And he called himself raising it to 145%. So China raised theirs to 125%, something like that. I don't know if I got my numbers right. I should have brought some slides. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. So if y'all can check me on this. I might not be totally right, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
They call themselves going into negotiation. They fooled the American people. Say, well, tariffs is about negotiations. It wasn't about negotiations before the election. Tariffs was supposed to be the end all be all. But now it's all about bringing them to the table. Well, they brought China to the table, so-called, and Trump back from his tariffs. Okay, well, I'll only charge you 30% tariffs. They call what do Berean call that? The Fugazi. If 10% was already too high, then you raise it astronomically to 145%, but then you bring it back down to 30%. Now you people, you see how Trump brought them to the table? Please. That's still 30% that people have to pay to get their products to the United States. You're still affecting the supply chains. And when you do that, you affect small businesses. Now, there may be a plan, right? Maybe he's trying to affect small business in there. Like the brother saying, they want to turn their farms from the mom and pop business to the corporate farms. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But the only thing I know is this. these tariffs is not good. These tariffs are not good for small businesses.
So, what do both of you say is the proper implementation of tariffs?
Well, be honest with you, being that and I say once again, we're in a global economy. That calls for negotiations between two nations. Okay, for instance, Canada, there was no problem we had no problem as far as tariffs are concerned with Canada. We had no problems with imports and exports with Canada. Canada is our neighbor. Canada is our friend. And be honest with you, Canada and Mexico, North and South, they are sort of like buffers against other nations because they're so closely connected. So why would you cause trouble between your good neighbors? You know what I'm saying? We had it's all about negotiation. You know, it's all about what I'm willing to accept, what's willing you're willing to accept, and what's fair as far as the markets are concerned. You know what I'm saying? But okay, China may be doing the okie doke on us. That may be true. But why in the world are you raising the tariffs on Canada? What sense do that make, business-wise? Okay,
you got it, Jay.
Yeah. So Tim is bringing out a great point. There are a place for tariffs when they're properly used, when they're placed against a nation to kind of even out. I guess presidents or Congress in the past have used them to kind of even out, for lack of a better word, trade. I mean, where we're importing and versus what we're exporting, and what they were using for is if there's like this, if what's imported is like causing a severe competition issue with American manufacturers, for example. So if you're importing a bunch of products and it's like putting American companies out of business, or it's hurting them, then the government will kind of slap on some tariffs to kind of even out the prices. In other words, you know what I'm saying? But I really wanted to focus on what Tim brought up, Canada and Mexico. Did you guys know? And I think it was 2019. I can't remember. Maybe it was 2018. But the first Trump administration, he could not stand NAFTA. He could not stand the current agreement that United States had with Mexico and Canada. So he tore that up, brought them to the negotiating table. His administration. I won't give him all the credit because he had at that time he had people who actually know how to run the government at that time, and they came up with a new deal that he signed. So they signed a new deal he signed a new deal with Mexico and Canada. I can't remember what it's called right now, but and that's been in effect ever since then. So he gets back into office, and one of the first things he does is slap Canada and Mexico with tariffs for a deal that he already agreed to. You make that make sense.
So first and foremost, I love a phrase you just brought up. You brought NAFTA up.
Oh wait! Let me be clear about something because I know what you're going to say. I don't know what you're going to say. But I'm not necessarily giving NAFTA a thumbs up as well, because that affected businesses in America tremendously.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. So I just wanted to be clear, the very first political campaign that I ever paid attention to in my life was the 1992 presidential campaign.
I knew this was coming.
I was 10 years old, and
Moore.
Yes, sir.
Before you go into that, I just found an article, and I'm reading from the archives of the White House. Okay. President Donald J. Trump's United States Mexico Canada agreement delivers a historic win for American workers. The USMCA, that's what it's called. USMCA is the largest, most significant, modern, and balanced trade agreement in history. All of our countries will benefit greatly. Quote unquote, President Donald J. Trump, January 29th, 2020, when this article came out.
And so, just to be clear, your issue isn't that he redid the agreement. Your issue is that he redid the agreement and now is putting tariffs on Canada.
He redid the agreement and then he tore it up. It's just like the treaties that the United States used to make with America.
He didn't tear it up. He's just putting tariffs on Canada.
He's not honoring his own deal. It's like the United States.
It's not. Tariffs aren't against the trade agreement.
Yeah, how is that?
If they were, then why would Canada be able to have tariffs against us?
I'm saying, how, if you already have a trade agreement which supposed to have fixed whatever it was that Donald Trump.
But they didn't. So the trade agreement didn't set, so it didn't bar America's ability to raise tariffs.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that the whole purpose of him turning up NAFTA and bringing them back to the table was because he felt that
NAFTA was an unfair agreement, which it was.
So he got
100% was
right. So he got a new one. And you just heard a quote that is balanced trade agreement and for all countries will benefit greatly. It's the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are. He's acting like he never did, like he never made this agreement. That's what I'm trying to say. Is this crazy talk?
Okay, so let me ask you a question in principle, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, right? Like, so let's say you were able to become president, right? And you had gotten to see that there was a trade deal that you thought was unfair, and that you renegotiated that trade deal, and that was successful. It went through, etc. And you left office, and when you came back, you saw that you could still be getting a better deal out of this for the country, whatnot, right? Now, I'm not saying this is what Trump's doing. I'm giving a scenario real quick, right? Would you be wrong for trying to go back to said trade agreement and trying to renegotiate it for a better deal?
No, there's nothing wrong with negotiations.
Right. You just don't like his tax. Gotcha. Okay. So
he's like a bull
right.
in a China shop. This
got it, Coach.
100%.
Cool.
He thinks because he's American president, he can smack the whole world, and they're going to, and the whole world's like, hey, they give him the
now. Interest. Okay, that's one way of looking at it.
All of them. Go ahead.
That's one way of looking at it. Okay, now that's what's up.
And Canada has targeted. Matter of fact, Canada has struck back to the point where their get back is actually hurting southern states more than northern states, and they did that strategically.
Okay.
So, but yeah, go ahead.
So,
I got this video whenever you want to play.
That means that we shouldn't be pro Canada, though, then, huh?
I mean, I'm not.
We should be friends with Canada like we always.
If they're going to target the southern states, we should be friends with them.
Hey, that's a response. That's a response to a response.
Right.
I mean, look, there was no reason. I mean, when we're talking about this global market, there's a balance that you have to keep. Everybody and their mama know that each nation is trying to get over on the other. Now, that's just the price of business.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But there's a balance that you have to keep. You don't wreck one end of your economy in order to say, well, I'm doing so well at getting back at China. That's just no. Come on, man.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to take a privilege and take off or land right quick on some stuff, right? Like I was saying, the very first political campaign I ever paid attention to, like real close, was the 1992 presidential campaign, and one of the major concepts of that campaign, which again, what I loved about that campaign is and we don't see it too often, is it was a three-way race, right? Mm-hmm. And so what was interesting about that campaign for people who weren't old enough to remember is that Ross Perot, your man from Texas, you're not saying. Was a rich billionaire, former owner of IBM, I believe, or CEO of IBM, something of that nature. He self-funded a campaign and was able to purchase a bunch of TV spots where he went on TV with a bunch of cards and a pointer and all kind of stuff, and was in charts and whatnot, and was breaking down his platform to people and whatnot. And so me as a kid, I sat down and I was like, man, I sucked all that stuff up. I was super interested in whatnot, right?
Right.
And so, both my parents, I come, so I live in Washington State, and I come out of a Boeing family, right? Like my father.
Oh, okay.
So like when it comes to manufacturing in the country, whatnot, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm big into that concept or whatnot, right? And so, I was intrigued what was going on and whatnot, and something that got me was, so again, the only one I could like, so I heard Ross Perot the most because he put out those specials or whatnot, right? Everyone else, like, they were doing it, like, you got to watch him battle that on news clips or whatnot. I was like, man, I was a kid. I didn't understand what the hell was going on CNN, and you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's a whole other thing, right?
Right.
But I got to sit down and watch Ross Perot go through them charts. I was like, I got that, you know what I'm saying? That made sense to me, right? And one thing I'll never forget, when he was talking about that giant sucking sound going down to Mexico, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Talking about the NAFTA deal, right? Because he was talking about what's going to happen is it's gonna make their cost of living, or they're not their cost of living, but their standard of living increase in Mexico, while it's gonna lower, like, levels ours out or whatnot, right? And so, like, he's like, it's not a net positive for our country, and we're making our manufacturer leave our country, whatnot. So we're paying another country to manufacture our stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And leaving the manufacturing for our country. Like, no, that's going to have a lot of negative side effects. And, like, literally everything he talked about happening literally happened with NAFTA, whatnot, right? So I 100% agree that NAFTA should have been renegotiated, redone. I think it should have never been signed. Personally, that's just me. I don't think there was any good reason to sign NAFTA to begin with. I don't think we got any positives out that at all in terms of a net. You could definitely see the trend. So when you're talking about they're trying to make farming corporate or whatnot, this ain't a Republican thing. This ain't a Democrat thing. This is a transnational corporation thing, right? They're all getting paid for them same people to do the same thing and whatnot, right? So none of them want to see a mom and pop. No, like, so if you're Amazon, right? So for instance, man, like, you're not trying to see local bookstores or whatnot, right? You want all them things shut down and everybody selling their books online on your website or whatnot, right? If you want to, like, you don't care about nothing, mom and pop. You're trying to knock all that stuff down, right?
Yeah, you want a monopoly. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. One of the saddest things we saw during COVID, right? And this was a tragedy that happened under both presidents, right? Is we saw our community, in terms of, like, the businesses or whatnot, they got knocked out. We're talking generational wealth got took out, and they never got replaced. No one got that lifeline from either side of the government. You know what I'm saying? Republican or Democrat. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that. Go ahead.
So help me understand, what was the lifeline we were getting
like I said, for instance, the farmers, you know, I mean, COVID did a number on businesses.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there was wealth that got erased that'll never come back.
Yeah, but America had one of the fastest growing economies post COVID in the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And one of the reasons is because of the PPP loans and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of businesses went away based on because of COVID. But the Biden administration did try to remedy those some of those losses, and it had an effect on the markets to the point to where I think GDP was 2.3% when he left office. And what is it now?
Let's keep it a stack. There's nothing that they did that was trying to really restore. Like, they didn't restore what was lost in any way. So again, we're talking. We're hold on real quick. So we're talking about losses that were forced upon our community based upon government shutdowns that we now know were erroneous and not necessary based upon the science.
I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but see, that's where we totally disagree. But that's a whole nother subject.
On what?
On the shutdowns and the necessity of the shutdowns.
Okay. What was the necessity thereof?
Because let me ask you a question. How did COVID affect our hospitals?
I need you to break that question down a little bit more.
Well, let me put it like this. How did COVID affect the number of beds available in the hospitals? The number,
What help me understand the point of the question.
The hospitals,
how it deals with the conversation.
because you just said that that the shutdowns was unnecessary, and I'm
Yeah.
supposed to give you the main reason why it was necessary. The main reason, because we were running out of hospital beds, we were running out of machines to keep people alive.
So
And
it's literally been proven, not to cut you, but it's literally been proven that the shutdown increased the spread in certain places, which was increasing the hospital, like the lack of hospital beds.
I disagree.
That was before.
I disagree. I
You
disagree.
can disagree, but you can disagree, but the facts are what the facts are.
I
The
mean,
numbers are what the
now don't
numbers
get me wrong. I could sit up here and hold on. What you want?
What year is your exam?
Shoot, girl, 2014, 2011. I don't know. You caught me in the middle of a conversation. It's getting heated. But see, I'm gonna be honest with you. See, that subject right there, we look at from two different perspectives, and I'm not gonna even lie to you, because of the simple fact is this: the hospital, and I seen it for myself. The hospital, they were running out of hospital beds to the point to where, like Parkland over here and this, that, and the other, they had to get portables. They had to build portables in order to replace some of the beds, because there was so many.
I'm granting you the hospital beds were full. No issue with that.
Okay, but let me finish saying what I'm saying. Here's the problem. when they came out with the vaccine, we have to understand scientifically, we know that everybody is not going to take the vaccine. We know that. But what you want to do is vaccine as many people as possible. And when you vaccine as many people as possible, the spread, it kills the spread. And it's not a coincidence that when the vaccines came, the COVID numbers went down. Now, and I understand people have their, they go to certain stores. Well, this is what will happen. You say, you tell me right now that you have facts. What me and you gonna have to both do is compare our facts, because I have some facts too. I just don't have it with me right now. But you said you want this to be an ongoing conversation, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring my facts next time. You give me your facts right now.
No, I'll bring them when you bring yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to add to that, it wasn't just the hospitals filling up; it was funeral homes everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was just using that as an example.
So here's the question, right? Like, so again, I'm going to grant you that the hospital beds were filling up, right? I'm going to stipulate that the current narrative that's that's understood universally worldwide, right, was that the shutdowns were bad because it actually increased. For instance, like there was a lot of deaths that happened in the senior homes that didn't need to happen, for instance, right? That increased a lot of what you guys are talking about, right? Are you aware of this or no? Like this is universal at this juncture, right?
In senior homes, yeah, but that wasn't because of a shutdown.
That was one. Oh wow. Okay, interesting. So like Tim said, we'll bring our information. We'll compare and contrast, right? Real quick. So we'll agree to disagree on the narrative right now, right? But I'm gonna stipulate that the shutdowns were not medically necessary and did not medically benefit the community in any way, shape, or form, right?
Okay. Well, I'll let you.
That's going to be my narrative when I
let you two-box that one out.
Yeah,
Okay.
no worries, right? Hold on, real quick. So based upon that narrative, I'm stipulating that the money that was lost in our community was forcibly lost and not paid back. That's my claim, right? So okay, and you're saying, what were you saying, Tim?
I was just saying, and I do have a personal story behind some of my facts that I'll bring, but like I said, you had your PPP loans and this, that, and the other. It wasn't a coincidence that the United States. Now, it's like I see somebody saying in the chat, ventilators was the word. I don't know. That's neither here or there, but it's not an accident that the United States was one of the fastest recovering economies post COVID
Yeah,
during.
you were supposed to make a faster recovery. You're supposed to grow back a lot when you die off a lot, right? Like there's
Yeah, but I said amongst other nations, we were the fastest.
But we're bigger than they are. So when we stop,
explain to me
moving again.
But well, explain to me the slowdown of the effects of the GDP. The last report. Why all of a sudden we had a screeched halt? You know why? Because these crazy, stupid tariff threats.
Okay, these
because
are
the markets respond every time he says something.
These, real quick, respectfully.
Go ahead.
So talking about opening up and so far I haven't disagreed with you guys about tariffs, right? So I haven't even given my position on this thing yet. To be clear though, like, so this isn't an apples to apples situation. When you're talking about closing an economy because of COVID and then reopening it, that's a completely different situation than the slowdown because of anything having to do with tariffs, right? So like when we see a drastic close off in the economy, like it shuts down because of COVID and then it starts up again, we should see growth. That should be expected. If we don't, something's incredibly wrong, right?
Supply chain.
If it shuts off, like it's water on, water off, right? Like, so if I got the water off, I shouldn't expect my cup to fill up when I put it in the faucet. But if I turn the water on, I should expect the cup to fill up, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We have to talk about that one on another time too.
Well, hold on, JT. Hold on, JT. Let me throw this at him. Cause see, I understand the premise that you're building, but I didn't just say it recovered. I said the fastest recovery.
And again, my point is it should be the fastest because we're the biggest, right? Like if we're one of the biggest economies, right? That means we take the biggest inhales and the biggest exhales, right?
Until somebody come along with crazy tariff arguments.
And so I'm not disagreeing. So again,
that's my whole point.
Don't hear what like honestly says, don't hear what I'm not saying, right? Don't hear what I'm not saying, right?
Where my girl at anyway? She needs to be a part of this conversation.
I'm saying that these are two separate situations that you need to look. So if you want to talk about the growth rate coming out of it and it's slowing down because of tariffs, I'm not going to disagree with you, right? I'm going to say, but what I'm saying is like the growth, like you should expect the growth rate. Like we should be able to agree upon that part. Like so when you have the biggest economy in the world that shuts down and then it starts back up again, it being able to generate stuff faster than anyone else, it shouldn't be a surprise, right? However, I'm not going to I don't disagree with you, right? That when you throw on tariffs at this level, this quickly, for instance, right, you're going to see an abrupt change in the market, right? And you saw people like David Portnoy coming out that was like a centrist kind of a person who was supporting Trump or whatnot. He was like, "Oh man, I got whacked on millions, blah blah whoop-de-woo," and the stock markets went down and they came back up and all kind of stuff, right? Like, and so there was people who lost who didn't need to lose. You're not going to hear me say that didn't happen.
And I'm glad to hear you say that because that's my whole point. That's my whole point. Can we agree that an economy, like the difference in like how the economy is running is like COVID, like the whole thing about like COVID shutting down the biggest economy in the world and it's starting back up again. We shouldn't be surprised that it was able to generate stuff faster than anyone else. No. Because that wasn't even my point. Okay. My point is how the GDP is being affected right now today as we speak. Mm-hmm. And why is no worries, you got it. My fault. Go ahead. No, y'all go. I'm just gonna say. I thought you paused. No, I thought you paused. No, I'm not. You got it. Go ahead and land. Yeah. Why? The only thing I'm saying is why is the GDP all of a sudden lose 0.3% in the last report? Why is that the case? Because my man's using a hammer instead of a scalpel, right? So I don't disagree with that. However, I'm also going to pull back on a couple of things, right? So on some devil's advocate stuff, right? Like, so I wouldn't have done it like this, right? So I'm not advocating for the way it was done, right? However, stepping back and taking a look at it, I'm looking at so for instance, when a president wants to do like these trade deals or whatnot, they're not necessarily unilateral, so they got to go through the Senate or whatnot, right? And so
There's a lot of these trade deals that we have. It's not just NAFTA. It was NAFTA. It's CAFTA. It's the WTO. It's the TPP. We got all kind of these big trade deals all around the world or whatnot, right? That started coming out after NAFTA, right? And during that whole time period, right? Along that had the same type of language in them and controls and designs and whatnot, and lack of protections for the American worker, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and unfair trade policies and giveaways to the fat cats from our own countries to take business elsewhere, right? And so Trump understands that he got 2 years to move and shake and wiggle before he becomes a potential lame duck president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we agree, disagree?
Oh no, yeah.
So in that regard, he gave a lot of people in his administration, for instance, he told them, I'm giving you 2 years to run. I'm gonna give y'all 2 years to run in whatever direction you want to run, because, like, you know what I'm saying, we got to do as much as we can in the 2 years or whatnot, right? And so to that regard or whatnot, he's doing what he can to affect the trade deals the way he would want to, without having to go back to the table and going through the Senate or whatnot, right?
Hey, so
I don't, while I don't agree with the way he's implementing the tariffs or whatnot, or nor do I agree with the negotiation tactic that's happening with it. I'm noting the political tactic, in the sense that he's trying to be able to affect the trade deals where he sees most necessary in the way that he can be the executive branch, without having to tap into the Senate for the first 2 years or whatever. Right? So he's trying to get as much done as humanly possible. So, for instance, like he's in Saudi right now, just knocking out a trade deal about more arms and whatnot, right?
He's in Saudi getting money.
Yeah, but we're getting money, like so the same, like in terms of like
we are.
He just signed another arms. He just signed another arms deal with Saudi, fam.
It's gonna cost us $400 million though for that luxury airplane.
No, it doesn't cost us money to sell them arms.
No. I'm talking about you. The plane that he's
okay. That's not Saudi. That's Qatar, and we're not. That's a gift to the Defense Department. So we're not even getting charged for that.
But you can't just take the plane as is. You got to rearrange, put all your stuff. That's going to cost a lot of money. That's going to cost the American people a lot of money.
So quick question.
Real quick. This is something I know quite a bit about. I actually used to work in this exact field of plane remanufacturing, etc. Right. I used to work for a subcontractor with Boeing and whatnot. Right. As a matter of fact, actually doing this for the congressional planes. Right. Qatar is, so first and foremost, they're one of our closest business partners in terms of planes that they get from Boeing and whatnot, right? They get our planes, like, so right now they actually did us a favor. They've invested so much in our F-15s and whatnot that they upgraded them to make them fly by wire, meaning that they went from being like how to say this? So they went from being manual to a stick in the sky, right? To where they don't got to think about flying or driving. They just point and go with these things. That's extremely expensive to do with the computerization and whatnot. They got the F-15 to be able to fly and almost outmaneuver the F-22, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. They take our planes and upgrade them to the point to where their planes are better than our planes when they're done with it, right? So we don't want to remodify their planes. We want their plane as is. 100%, and they're 100% good at working with our products or whatnot, because they upgrade them all the time. Like you said, like Trump said, they buy a lot of Boeings. They do. 100%.
You got two issues though. You got two issues working against you.
Can I get in here, fellas?
Shoot.
So, number one, Donald Trump accepting that is a violation of the Emmanuel's Clause. I'm sure you're aware that.
Oh Lord, we ain't brought that up yet.
Only Congress can approve something like that. You know,
exactly.
So it's not a direct. So to be clear, and I'm not defending anything, right? But I like to keep things factual. To be clear, he's not accepting anything as a gift. It's a gift.
He hadn't done it yet.
Legally, it's legally.
He definitely got mad when they challenged him about accepting it. So he was going to definitely do it. But here's the other deal. Did you also know that what he's doing with tariffs is illegal? it's Congress's purview to implement tariffs. The president has emergency power in cases of, you know, some countries threatening us or something crazy happening. He has some emergency power, but those are temporary, like 30 days or whatever. Long-term tariffs, that's the purview of Congress. So what he's doing is illegal, and Republicans in Congress would never call him on, never pull it back because they're afraid of his coat. So they'll never pull that back. But I also, when as soon as you can, brother, I definitely want to play that video I got shared on tariffs. It's not a long video, by the way.
Yeah. I'll play that real quick. Going back to what we were talking about.
Trade tensions between the U.S. and China may be cooling slightly thanks to a 90-day tariff war truce, but the economic fallout is still rippling through one of the country's busiest ports. At the Port of Los Angeles, incoming cargo is down some 25%. And this matters because the port plays
and the port of Portland and ports all over the country are feeling similar effects, but let me let it play out.
a major role in the global supply chain, and a slowdown affects everything from store shelves and prices to American jobs. We're joined now by Gene Soroka, Executive Director of the Port of Los Angeles. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Jeff.
So tell me more about how the U.S. tariffs on imports, especially from China, have affected the overall cargo volume at your port.
Jeff, at the Port of Los Angeles, for the month of May, we were expecting 80 ships to arrive with cargo from Asia, and we had 17 canceled. The cargo volume will be down precipitously for 4 weeks, beginning last and continuing on. And what that means for us is fewer job opportunities for our dock workers, truckers, and warehouse folks in and around the port complex. It's also going to put a strain on seasonal products on store shelves across the nation as the cargo that moves through our port reaches each one of our country's 435 congressional districts.
Now, remember when Trump was confronted about this, and he told his response was, well, maybe you don't buy your child $30, you just get them $1.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Point being is that
yeah, that's what I was saying about him using
Americans,
versus
you
a
tell
scalpel.
Americans you're basically screwing up the economy, and you tell Americans, well, don't expect to buy much. That's crazy talk.
So he's making all right, got it. I'm with that. So he's making a calculated move, which is crazy to me, right? Like I couldn't ever do this, right? I couldn't.
One last thing.
I couldn't.
It affects truckers. There's a big thing with truckers. They're slowing down. Trucks are in the yards, are not being moved because there's nothing for them.
No, it affects a lot more than that, right? So it
right,
affects,
no, I know.
It's
That's
like going down the
say.
supply chain, like it's going down the supply chain, like you're talking about. It affects the restaurants that they go to for
truckers,
lunch.
all of it. Go ahead.
It affects the people that they would be buying gas from for transportation to whatnot, all that type of stuff, right? Like so, you got from the dock workers to all the local businesses that run off the docks, that run off the transportation, off the trucks, all that type of stuff, right? All feeling this stuff, right? Hence, I'm saying there's a hammer being used instead of a scalpel, right? And I wouldn't have done that, right? In any way, shape, or form. I would have done this completely different. However, again, I'm gonna do this real quick. Make on do this one right quick. Hold on, we're finna do it like this. I do understand the tactic, and I'm gonna explain it. I do understand the tactic. I'm gonna explain
Al Pacino's picture, bro.
Hey, I'm a fan of man. That's my guy. Hey, Al Pacino played the best Satan in the game. Tell me he didn't. Tell me he didn't, bro.
Played it down, dude. He played it so
he
good.
almost got me convinced. I was like, can't go on
that was one of the coolest movies.
But
and in the end, when old girl, y'all,
man,
that was cold.
That whole movie had me like the first time I saw that movie, I was like, that movie was genius, bro.
Yeah,
absolute genius.
Yeah,
but to this effect, real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and be Al Pacino right quick, right? I'm gonna be a fan of man right quick. And so So to this effect, like I can't stand the tactic, right? Because there's a lot of people that are hurting on. This is what I can't stand about it, right? What I don't like is the fact that you're on purposely trying to like, even though you're betting on a long-term uptick in the economy, right? You're saying with your own mouth, that there's going to be a downtick, right? And at the same point in time, you're also trying to cut federal funds going to take care of people who would need help in that downtick, right? I got big problems with that, huge problems with that, right? That's just, you got no soul, right? You know what I'm saying? And you're literally willing to look in the mirror and say, I'm going to bet on the short term pain of all these people for the long term gain of the country and whatnot, right? And on the one hand, I understand why, I don't agree with the cuts, but like, again, the ideology is like, I'm trying to save as much money on this end so that we can have it on the other end when we start to pick up in the economy, whatnot, right? And so that's, to me, that's just pardon my French, that's just an asshole thing to do. And I couldn't ever support that type of ideology or whatnot, right? However, I am saying that he believes it to be a very effective strategy to let his runners run for 2 years and potentially have a portfolio that could outperform whatever political wave will be coming at him that can make him a lame duck president in his last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and then going back to, I'm not sure what your last comment was supposed to mean, who he's referring to. But
I have no, and don't worry about the chat.
Okay.
That's why I ain't put that one up there. You know what I'm saying?
But going back to my earlier point about, him being obsessed with tariffs for decades. It says, I just don't like picking and choosing how we critique Trump is how we should do all. Yeah. You know who tore apart Obama, I mean not Obama, Clinton's policies on NAFTA and all that stuff. Yeah, that was torn down. And by the way, I was never,
it should be torn down.
I was never a fan of NAFTA. I was never a fan of NAFTA.
Yeah, NAFTA was horrible for manufacturing.
And see, and it amazes me. It don't matter what whose live you're on, you get some of these same assumptions.
Both sides stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that they never critique. Man, I didn't critique. I voted for George Bush.
Right. Well, let me tell you like this. I told Hillary, that woman, that Miss Lewinsky, I never knew her.
And we didn't lock us out.
No, I was just showing that's my my last voting card. That was me voting for Trump right there.
Oh, Lord.
But so what I was getting ready to say was that, these tariffs, his handling of tariffs is just proof that what I've been saying for the last 10 years, this guy shoots from the hip. The only really thing he's good at is marketing his name, or shall I say, taking advantage of people's stupidity. He knows how to market. He knows how to take advantage of people's I forgot the word, but people's gripes, for lack of a better word. People's got, he listens to see what people are griping about and he jumps on that. So he's good at that. But actually running businesses, this dude literally bankrupt six businesses, 2 casinos, and then he put 2 casinos like on the caddy corners. I mean, casinos are made to make money. I mean, they really make money. And this guy could bankrupt 2 of them. Airline.
The house lost. He said he got a house lost twice.
and I'm just like, But people going around, he's a great businessman. In what lifetime was he ever a great businessman?
That's so funny to me because that reminds me. I went up like when I was on the Atlantic Strip and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like for anyone who goes out there and whatnot, they got these seagulls, these black-headed seagulls that will straight steal the food out your hand. My God.
Oh wow.
They will straight just snap. They don't even. Here's the coldest part. You will have just bought the hot dog. You understand what I'm saying?
What color you said these seagulls were?
It was a white seagull with the black head. It was a trip.
Oh wow,
bro, tripped me out. They was just waiting on cats, like and they were waiting. They would wait for you to turn your head, and they knew what it was. They would swoop down, and just run off with and fly off with the joint right quick. It just reminded me because this was the first time I ever heard Trump's name too. It was like because we had to meet one of my family members at the casino and whatnot, and so. Yeah, that was reminded me. He lost 2 casinos like people would lose a sandwich to them seagulls. Yeah.
And then you have the history of him. You know, this is well documented. Anybody can look this up. Stiffing contractors, not paying.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Horrible business person.
Doing all kind of
horrible,
all kind of evil shenanigans.
No, there was a study that came out and said that if he would have just left his money in the hands of private investors or whatnot, that he would have made more money than him trying to like do his thing. Whatnot,
well,
right?
yeah, you know, the Apprentice saved him.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
The Apprentice saved him. They saw an opportunity to make a show and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So had they not, he probably wouldn't be president now. Mm-hmm. So you get $400 million or however much it was he got from his daddy. I'm just saying, people tout this guy up as a great businessman and the decisions that he's making. I'm like, you guys watching what he's doing? On what planet do you think this is good business? What
I gotta be Al Pacino for a second. I gotta be Al Pacino. Like, so in terms of this is me embracing. This is me embracing. Now, excuse my French again. This is me embracing being an asshole, right? So I'm gonna be Al Pacino for a second. I'm gonna be Donald Trump for a second, right? Like, so if I'm okay with the short-term pain, with the people at the bottom of this thing, right? And even some of the people at the top that didn't support me, right? Some millionaires who was losing their ass off in the market right now, I might not care because they didn't support me, right? Like the Democrats, when they had a whole bunch of billionaires on their side, right?
And so
if I'm okay with all that, right? Mm-hmm. Me grabbing the market and putting it in a headlock again in the short term, again, people won't like the squeeze at all, right? People won't like the squeeze, but in this 2 years, I'm banking on the fact that I'm going to get people coming back. So, for instance, right, there was a lot of people saying that the tariffs weren't a bad thing. They just wish they were more actual reciprocal tariffs, like they were first advertised to be reciprocal tariffs. Meaning, for those who are not aware, meaning that whatever tariff the country has placed on us, we place on them same number, and we just leave it there, right? That's what he advertised he was going to do. Then he came out with this crazy chart or whatnot, and then you saw that the numbers didn't come out to be as reciprocal. They were way more on certain countries, countries that didn't even exist, for instance, right? Places that didn't exist, all kind of nonsense.
He put tariffs on penguins. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, he said the penguins got to pay, sir. What you talking about? Ain't no free show. But anyway, so yeah, so me personally, I would have been cool with the reciprocal tariffs. I would have had no issue with that whatsoever, right? I didn't like the squeeze on the other stuff because with the reciprocal tariffs, how that affects the market is you as a business person and as a worker, you're gonna receive any effects off of that a lot slower, right? So someone on the bottom is gonna feel that a lot slower, if at all, right? If at all. Than what they would in this situation here, when you drastically raise tariffs in a situation to where countries respond back in almost like a trade war fashion, right?
Right. Well, like you said earlier, there's a way to implement tariffs that are beneficial to the country. So think about it like this: Trump's first administration and the people he was surrounded by. Do you think they be going along with this right now?
No, I don't think a lot of people will be going along with the concept. However, but hear me out. Let me land the devil's advocate right quick.
I was gonna say because they know it'd be a disaster, but go ahead.
Well, it could be in a short term, right? Because this is what he's also hoping to do with the squeeze is because. So, for instance, if us raising tariffs on a country is bad, right? this begs the question: well, why do they initially have tariffs on us?
Price of business.
What's
Tariffs is the price of business. You're gonna have import prices on imports and exports. That's the See, I look at this from a totally different angle. I look at it from if it ain't broke, don't fix it angle. Because I can guarantee you, if he had made those same promises before the election about short-term pain, he would have never won the office.
Nope.
So in other words, he lied to the American people. And I know everybody lied. Okay, whatever. Right now, he's the liar. You know what I'm saying? So if he
did run on tariffs though.
Yeah, no. Hear what I'm just like y'all said.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so you're saying he ran on tariffs? He just didn't say he didn't tell the effects of what he was running on.
Exactly. And the thing is, you rate and even then, you should have heard me and JT crying about that even before the elections. Not crying, but we warned people. Did we not, JT, on Beren's channel?
Yeah.
On how these.
We warned people about how tariffs really work because they thought that tariffs was going to bring back jobs, and they didn't even understand the simple concept that a business is not going to pay tariffs; they're going to pass it on to consumers. I'm like, how do you not understand this simple?
Let me start flapping my wings real quick as the devil's advocate in this piece. Let me get the ding wings flapping right quick. So for instance, have we all recently seen the story of we're talking about Walmart, right? So Walmart, we know for a fact their business model is to import cheaply from outside of this country and to supply products that way, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So with all these tariffs on China, I was looking for that one right there, right? I was looking for everything at Walmart to go sky high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see the recent story about Walmart saying that now they're going to invest more in the American manufacturer and make it easier for the American manufacturer to get their products on their shelves versus a foreign manufacturer?
Okay. I hope that I'm gonna have to look at the date of that story because the latest is
that they're going
Walmart is about to raise prices on the American people because of these tariffs.
Right. That's the latest I got. And
right. No, I'm with that, but I'm talking about they're specifically now also they're saying they're going to invest in the American manufacturer and getting American products on their shelves.
Yeah, but are they going to do it in light of the
they have to
DEI
they have to.
This stupid DEI argument.
So right, here's the thing, right. So let me ask this question: do you think that they would be investing in American manufacturers had they not been put in the chokehold to do so?
Of course, I think
they
so.
Would, or of course they wouldn't.
I say, of course.
Of course they would, or of course they wouldn't.
Of course they would.
They would still choose to invest in the American manufacturer without the chokehold.
Yeah,
without the tariff.
But they've already been doing. I got to go look at that story to really understand what you're saying because which companies they what am I trying to say? Companies are always bidding for spaces on those store shelves. You know what I'm saying? That's business. That's the business concept to get as many spaces filled on your store shelves as possible. Why wouldn't you allow invest in American businesses? And not only that, at first, before this administration came in, you had your DEI programs that allow a lot of your of your minority run businesses to vie for those spaces. You know what I'm saying? So when you take away DEI, actually you're taking away for America's ability to vie for these spaces because you're affecting one section of society based on some made up policies. DEI, this, that. Well, it's obvious. I'm ticked off at the day. I'm trying to word it in ways where I can bring this into the conversation. the effect of DEI and the Trump administration has had on companies. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, back to your question, yeah, I think they would have been invested in American companies without this chokehold because they already were. Let me just put it like that.
Hey, you see my article, more?
Hold on.
What date does that say? Can you see it?
No, I can't.
Okay, let me see if I can blow that up for you. Maybe let me get back to it. Let me do this. Here we go. How about now? They look better?
I believe I see September 26, 2024. Let me know if I'm reading that right.
Yes, sir. So had nothing to do with Trump.
Had nothing to do with it.
Ooh.
But people, whoever shared that with you, they ain't gonna tell you that.
No, I didn't share it. No, I don't go off what people tell me. I go off what I research for myself.
Oh, okay.
So,
No.
When we come back for installment 2 of this conversation, I'll bring the more recent material or whatnot.
Okay.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my first time versing with you. What am I supposed to call you? Brother Moore?
You can call me Brother Moore. You can call me TJ. You can call me Tyvon. You can call me anything you want, man.
All right, but this is my first time conversating with you, man. I ain't gonna even lie, man. I enjoyed it, man. So I appreciate you having me on, brother. Yeah,
and I'd love to make this. So I think political conversations are a necessary thing in our community. We don't have enough of them, and we definitely don't have enough out in the open.
Right.
So, like I said, I don't adhere to any party. You know what I'm saying? I don't like. I'm more into policy with it, right? And so, to that end, I'm still going to make my devil advocate argument because I don't agree with it, right? I don't agree with this at all. Like, I don't agree with
you like
certain aspects of this, right?
Side. You just like to argue from the other side.
Yeah, yeah. Like I do it all the time. Like, so
at least you're honest and you say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," so people understand you're arguing from.
100%. Yeah.
Some folk I know they just argue from the other side all day long, and then when you corner them, they go, "Oh man, I don't believe that." I'm like, "Oh,
right.
Why?" Like, man, you think we've been arguing for 2 hours about something you don't even believe?
Yeah. So I question the effectiveness of the strategy in terms of like how much you'll be able to make people move with the chokehold. Like, so I'll put this in martial arts terms, right? Like, so if I shake your hand, like I used to practice a joint manipulation martial art or whatnot that was Korean and Japanese based or whatnot, right? And if I shook your hand, like you wouldn't know it, but like you were mine. Like the moment I touched you, you were mine. Like that's my arm. You know what I'm saying? However, like it's real soft joint manipulation power that I'm using. You don't really feel it so much. I'm moving you around. Like if I was a security guard at a club, I could shake your, like at the moment I shake your hand, I could walk you out the club if I needed to, right? And you look real nonchalant. We're not causing no problems. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? It's real chill looking, right? It's real business style, right? Or I got you in the headlock and I'm dragging you the hell out, right? It looks a lot more ugly. It's more of a tussle. Our clothes is ripped up. You know what I'm saying? We done got into it. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm dragging you out the club, right? Like I said, my man's using the hammer, not the scalpel. He's trying to drag you out the club or whatnot, right? The question is, will he be effective in getting you out the club? Meaning, will he be effective in sparking American manufacturing, and will be effective in going around the Senate and being able to increase manufacturing in this company without having to go through them to sign new trade deals or whatnot in this 2-year plan, to where he knows that they're not going to work with him to try to, so, you know what I'm saying, versus not getting anything done at all, right? And being a lame duck after 2 years, right? A lame duck after 2 years, right? Whether I agree with the tactic or not, I have to say that I think it's a 60-40, maybe 50-50, 60-40 shot on it being effective for him. I'm like, in terms of like, so I don't think the headlock is the cleanest way to move somebody out the club. But I do think, like, if I can put you in the headlock, I can move you. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how much he tussles before he gets before he gets you out the club or whatnot. But I do think that it can be an effective plan. Although I do not like its implementation, and if it did work, I still couldn't stand the fact that it worked off the back of people having to suffer in the short term at the beginning of this thing.
So you believe that executive order is the way to run the country.
Oh no, I think
well-
it's the way to run the executive branch, but not the country.
Well, see that's the whole problem. When you use executive order to so-called, I'll say make rules because they're not law. Because what you've done is you shunned out Congress, and what you're doing is basically.
Well, to be fair, he can't write an executive order that affects anything other than the executive branch, the federal. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's not true. That's not true because we just talked about who holds the purse. Congress holds the purse.
Right.
You make an executive. You make an executive orders based on the fact that you paid El Salvador to come and house some of your prisoners. Those type of things supposed to go through Congress. What in the world is he doing making deals with El Salvador in order to come take some of the American prisoners without it going through Congress, without making it law? That's my whole point.
Yeah, and then saying openly that he would like to be able to send U.S. citizens to foreign.
Yeah, and not only that,
I think this will be a good conversation for the next time because I got to shut this down real soon. Like so when you're saying like power of the purse and trying to tie that to prisoners going to another country, tie that together for me real quick because it specifies in the Constitution what the power of the purse is for, like what they can appropriate for.
They paid El Salvador in order to house our prisoners. First of all, that did not go through Congress. Congress is the one supposed to be responsible for paying this, that, and so if it goes through Congress, that means they have to debate it and make it law. That didn't happen. So what you've done.
I hear what you're saying. So to be clear, so when they come, so this is how an executive order works and how it can affect appropriated money, right? Like, so the Congress does have the power of the purse where they appropriate the funds for like how much for instance, like the DSHS, right, or DHS, right, like Department of Homeland Security, right? They like the department will ask the federal government, will ask the Congress, please give us this amount of money. That they'll debate it around, like we'll give you this much, we won't give you that much, we'll actually give you for this, blah blah blah. They appropriate the money, right? They pass it in a bill, etc. And then the once it's appropriated, right, it goes to the department or whatever, right? And so at that juncture, once like the president can't affect the appropriation aspect of it, right? Like the money being allotted or whatnot, right? But once it gets to his federal agencies, he does have the power of the pen to start affecting how things work there, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like so, and sometimes he can overstep limits, and sometimes because sometimes the money can be appropriated with certain strings, and so he can't do certain things with that. And sometimes the money doesn't have strings, and he can play with it a little bit more, right?
So that's what we're gonna have to get to the bottom line to. How in the world did he take that appropriated money and use it to pay El Salvador to come get our prisoners? Because I guarantee you, the money was not earmarked for that purpose. I guarantee.
Well, it does, so, and if it's not, it's so right. It doesn't have to be earmarked for, like, so if it's appropriated and it's not, and it doesn't have a specific string tied to it like that. So this is what I'm saying. Not every dollar is appropriated like that to where it's dollar for dollar appropriated for a specific thing.
Okay, you say that, but okay. Let me put it in let me ask you then.
Shoot. Was
those dollars appropriated for that purpose when they paying El Salvador to come get our prisoners? I'm talking about that particular situation.
So what I can say about that is if he overstepped his bounds and appropriations in terms of how it was earmarked or not earmarked, there's going to be federal lawsuits on the matter.
Exactly, and I guarantee you it's coming.
Yeah,
I guarantee it's coming. Yeah,
but
so when there's federal lawsuits on the matter, we get to look at what the charges are specifically, etc., and all that kind of stuff. We get to cover all that in detail.
Yeah. He's got his lawyers down there telling the Supreme Court that the Constitution doesn't apply to Donald Trump.
It's going both ways. They're winning and losing, right?
They losing more than winning.
But he's
they're winning and losing though.
But I don't think people heard me. He's telling the Supreme Court that their rulings on the Constitution doesn't apply to Donald Trump.
I hate to break it to you. I have yet to see a president in my lifetime that cares anything about the Constitution.
I
haven't seen the president defy the Supreme Court. Have you?
Let me.
That's good. That's good, JT.
Define defy.
Meaning the ruling from the Supreme Court. Especially
like this, if presidents thought it was that easy.
Especially a 9-0 ruling.
If presidents thought it was that easy, Nixon wouldn't have never left office.
So I'll say it like this. Yes, I've seen presidents defy courts in many ways, right? Many multitudes of ways, right?
Direct order.
Yeah, I've seen that happen, fam. And so what I'm saying, can I land?
I just want to know when.
Okay, I'll supply. Like I said, I've seen presidents defy courts in plural in many ways, right? I've yet to see a president that, if they can get around the law, don't try to, right? Like I universally, when it comes to politicians, I see that same trait amongst all of them, right? Hence, you don't hear me going, you'll never hear me go rah rah sis boom bah about an individual person or party or whatever. You'll hear me go rah rah sis boom bah over policies, because policies would actually matter, right?
Okay, so
he can defy whatever he does in terms that breaks the law. People should try to hold him accountable to it, right? I'll say that to any president, for any politician, right? I also say this: the majority of them get away with murder, sometimes literally.
I will give you the fact that most presidents do try to expand the executive power in one way or the other.
Yep.
Right. But I do believe that JT's question has to do with a direct order from the Supreme Court.
Okay. When y'all can walk me through it, we'll go through it.
Okay. No problem. We'll definitely do that. And then her big questions for next time. And I probably know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway because the audience need to hear this. EOs or executive orders. Hang on a second and make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Let's see. So purging Tuskegee Airmen from the Air Force, purging their their work and the memories and everything that they did, as a way of implementing his DEI purge, so to speak.
I have a super soft spot for the Tuskegee Airmen.
Okay,
so I got all kind of Tuskegee Airmen members, like them's is my guys, right? Those,
the DOT
as a child, like they were my standard of excellence, right?
Okay.
So
I mean, this is conversation for what that has happened.
Oh no, like I'm like so.
Oh, here's another.
I'm gonna say it like this, like so when it comes to stuff like that, like so on both sides of my family, right? Like I'm related to people, like I got like so people know I'm Native American on one side of my family as well, right? Like I got a Native mitochondrial, like so I was also adopted into a Navajo family, whatnot, to where one of my uncles was a Navajo code talker, whatnot, right? He was actually like his character was actually portrayed in a movie like about the code talkers, where he died in service or whatnot, right?
Okay.
On the Tuskegee Airmen side, right? Very similar concepts, right? So this thing here, those kind of things 1,000,000% bother me in terms of like, so either America is an all-inclusive melting pot or it's not, right?
Right.
And if it's an all-inclusive melting pot, then whoever bleeds and dies for this country
Right.
deserves to be honored, right?
Right.
I don't care what your background is, right?
Right.
But those particular things deserve to be honored and whatnot, right? So if there's anything that in turn, like, and this is what I'm saying, to where like hammer versus instead of a scalpel, right? So if anything like that got thrown out of the military in terms of in any way, shape, or form honoring those men, right? In terms of said DEI policies. One, I'm not a fan of DEI policies, right? To me, that's the same thing as affirmative action. I grew up like my father raised me to not be able to stand affirmative action, right? That's the family I grew up in, right? Some people dig the thing. We can talk that one out, right?
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of them policies, right? However, in terms of honoring sacrifice, fam, I'm 1,000,000% for that, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
I mean,
I'll never be for supporting anything about them losing any kind of support for that.
Right. So so what had happened was reversed, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place, because when the public came out, public found out about it and it just went cuckoo and they reversed it. The DOD says it mistakenly removed Jackie Robinson's other content from website amidst DEI purge. So his military service as well, and what he did. Another, I don't know the brother's name, so forgive me, but he was one of the black soldiers that was fighting during Pearl Harbor. He died, but he was given, I think I'm going off top of my dome, bro. He was given an award. They had removed him and they had to put his name back. The brother that I think they call him Chappie, the brother that
the real Chappie. Oh, don't tell me they did something to the real Chappie.
They were talking
Yo,
reckless.
I'll stop, bro. Don't, hey,
they were talking reckless.
Boy. Oh, don't do that one. Chappie's my guy, the real one. So people need to know, like in the movie Iron Eagle or whatnot, the character Chappie that they have in that movie is literally based off of an actual character who's my God. So he was.
That was played by Cuba Gooding.
No, that was played by Louis Gossett Jr., who actually.
Oh no! You know what? we're speaking of. I'm getting my names mixed up here.
No, you good. No worries. Cuba played the like. Cuba actually he played in the Tuskegee Airmen or whatnot.
He played the naval.
And yeah, exactly. I was about to say that one. Exactly. The first thing you got it.
Yeah,
you got it. 100%. Exactly. 100%. Right. So this is the only time you'll ever hear me say where identity matters. Right. Identity matters the moment someone starts making a sacrifice for the country like that, right?
Well, let me ask you a question specifically. What do you think about the Afghans who helped in the war that are losing their status in America? You losing their green card status, in other words. Let
me ask you to elucidate that in a second as soon as I'm done landing this point right quick. Like, so this is the only time I'll say identity matters or whatnot, right? Like, so when people are when they serve the country, like when you're in the military service, you're serving the country, fam. You're serving the country, right? You're defending everyone here, right? And people like Chappie, fam, like, yo, my God, like he was the stuff he kind of went through. Like he's like exemplar of Black excellence, right? Like he came from a place where his mother had a school for Black people and whatnot. He was like they educated themselves. He was given a high standard of excellence by his mom. Like you don't do nothing but succeed or whatnot. And that was his whole stamp, like his whole concept going through life or whatnot, right? And so if these are the kind of people who should be honored or whatnot, right? And this is why I say that this is the one spot where identity matters to me. Is like so when you want to just represent exemplar people, right? That part identity should matter, but like it matters in the sense that I get to see the exemplar people, right? Leave it on the merit on that level, and I'm cool with that, right? Because I can say like that's my standard. I can tell you that Tuskegee are were my standard of excellence for reasons, right? Because they outperformed people, right? Not just because they were Black. You understand what I'm saying? like because of how they got down, right? That's a standard to stick to, right? That's a standard I can look at, like, hey, I'm capable of that, right? Like when my nephew told me, like, when he saw Obama get elected, right? Like, he was like, man, my standard of excellence is increased. Like, I can be president now. You know what I'm saying? I know that. You can't tell me I can't be president, right? That's where like that kind of thing matters and whatnot, right? Like in terms of a DEI though, like we can talk about that one. I think that's a slightly different thing, but I definitely think that that when people sacrifice this for this country, they've done exemplary things and whatnot. No matter what their identity, they should be celebrated or whatnot, and not denigrated or whatnot in any way, shape, or form. But what were we saying about the Afghans?
That's what's taking place right now. The Afghans that assisted the military,
U.S. soldiers, yeah.
The military, U.S. soldiers, yeah. They are losing their TPS, temporary protected status, due to DEI policies. And they and I don't and the problem with that is many of them, they may have been here on temporary protected status, but many of them have applied to become U.S. citizens, but now that's been interrupted because of Trump's DEI policies as far as military and stuff like that is concerned.
Yeah, as an American citizen, I'm completely ashamed of our total, like, both sides of the aisles U.S. policy when it comes to Afghanistan in terms of like how they actually treated the people. Like, one, we should have never been there in terms of war stuff, but two, if we were there, the way we treated the people that we embedded with and literally put their families on the line to help us out, like, fam, that would, like, the way we left them was ridiculous, and the way we're treating them now, if that's what's going on, that's even more, like, it's completely shameful.
Right, because
absolutely shameful.
As soon as they step off a plane, they know they're going to be killed. So why would you try to send them when they
that's why they were willing. That's what people don't understand when they're like, well, why were they dying on the tarmacs when we were leaving? Why were they holding on to the planes taking off and whatnot? They were willing to die falling off of planes because they knew what would have happened to them if they stayed. You understand?
So we want to send South Africa. I mean, we want to send the Afghans home, but we're going to bring some white Africanos up in here. So because they're persecuted and their land was taken from them allegedly, and so we want to bring them here, give them status, and make them permanent, and eventually make them permanent citizens. And they got them sitting down there in South Carolina.
Sad.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. If we bring over the Somali, I got no issue bringing over the South Afrikaners or whatnot, right?
Right, but that's the problem. They're not going to bring the Somalians. They're not going to bring.
What are you talking about? What are you saying, bro?
I'm talking about. I mean, excuse me, not to the right. Currently, right now,
we got Somalis in Congress. What are you saying?
Right.
But he's talking about currently.
No, I agree with that. No, I agree with that. No.
Currently, there's a crisis.
I agree with that.
There's a crisis of
no, I'm with that. No, it's ridiculous.
Applying for protected status, and they're not giving it. But
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're never gonna hear me back where any administration is being uneven or playing uneven games or whatever. Right? I can't stand that concept because it's a life and death thing for people in this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's real people living, real people dying and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like you said, people from quote unquote S-hole countries.
Hey, y'all, I don't mean to shut this down. I mean, you said you was going to go, but I'm gonna have to go. You know what I'm saying?
I got it. That's cool.
Yeah, no worries. But so next time when we come back, we gotta bring info on what was it we were supposed to come back and bring info on? I'll have to go back and rewatch the thing and send you a message or whatnot. But
yeah, we'll both do that.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the conversation and whatnot. I enjoyed the being able to dive into this thing from multiple different directions and whatnot.
Carl Brashear, by the way, was the naval officer. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Like, if they touch him or Chappie, fam, I'm fighting somebody. Just understand that. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, they have, bro. I laugh so hard watching Pete Hegseth in Saudi Arabia because he can't. You can tell he can't stand Muslims at all. At all.
You talking
my man looked like he was sitting on a block of ice. You understand what I'm saying?
You talk about You talk about an unqualified DEI hire, but go ahead.
No comment, right? We'll pick that one up on a whole other one. I'm just saying, like, so a lot of people, like, so he recently got a tattoo on his arm in Arabic that means kafir or whatnot. Like, so, like, and he has like a Crusaders tattoo of a Christian Crusaders tattoo on, right? Like, so he definitely is not a fan of Islam or Muslims in any way, shape, or form or whatnot. And so like Trump is trying to get real cool in, like he's good with the Saudis and them trying to get with Qatar, whatnot, a whole bunch of other people, whatnot. And you could tell he was yanking Pete over there on purpose, like, nah, you gonna sit through this, bro. You know what I'm saying? You could tell he was like, I'm in a room full of people who probably want to kill me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. He looked mad uncomfortable.
Hey, somebody in your chat wrote that Elon Musk is a white supremacist. I agree 100%. He's an Afrikaner. He's an Afrikaner.
That's amazing. We went through this, been hours, and didn't mention Elon Musk.
No. He coming up next time.
I'm not the biggest fan of Elon Musk either. Like anybody who wants to put computers in people's brains got me weirded out, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't trip on him being South Afrikaans or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody who's of that, like, so I've met some really cool South African people before. You know what I'm saying?
But it's the ideology that he's for. I peeped him.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. I shouldn't broad brush, but anybody that jumped that Trump brought here, I'm looking at them sideways. Follow what I'm saying? And especially putting them down there in South Carolina or wherever. I think it's somewhere down there. They're gonna fit right in and get some land, and they're gonna farm, and they're gonna. No, I'm gonna look at them sideways, and I've been peeped Elon Musk's game, and how he's how he started he took over Twitter and how he started banning Twitter, you know, and starts suppressing certain voices. I've been seeing that, so I know who that dude is, and he let us know with his how sick, you know, he let us know who he is. So I'm good.
Yeah, I've never been impressed by Elon Musk and whatnot in terms of him being an engineer, in terms of him, like, so like with his businesses and whatnot. Like, if he didn't get a large amount of government contracts, like he's not. He
would be doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm not.
So basically, he gets corporate welfare. He's got corporate welfare.
Yeah, I agree.
And he buys up a bunch of companies, and then he takes credit for the products that those companies produce, as if he's the genius that was behind him. Dude bought.
I'll tell you right now, China's coming for his lunch when it comes to the electric car company. Fam.
Yeah,
they're like Elon Musk. Elon Musk will soon be like Boeing turned into, because Boeing used to be a fantastic manufacturer in this company, commercial side, all kind of stuff, right? And then they got on the defense side and started getting the defense money and started letting the commercial side go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Elon Musk is going to turn into that real soon. But like without government contracts, he won't be able to survive it, because, you know,
Boeing
for lunch.
Speaking of Boeing, they had bought out the airline manufacturer from my neck of the woods. So I'm from St. Louis.
Yep.
McDonnell Douglas was bought out by Boeing, so and they merged and all that jazz. So and then I wanted to give a shout out to St. Louis. They were hit hard by tornadoes. I've never seen tornadoes as long in my 57 years. I've never seen tornadoes rip through the city.
Yeah,
and tornadoes rip through the north side and west side. And I grew up on the west side, so this is really devastating. It had me in tears this morning watching videos. But shout out to my home city. My prayers with y'all. And like I said on Facebook, there should be no ifs, ands, or buts about FEMA or any other federal government agency coming in to help. It doesn't matter if it's a blue state, a red state, a blue city, or a red city. We all pay federal taxes. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense or foolishness.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact. So,
but yeah, on that note, man, because I like what you said, because, you know, FEMA, as far as government assistance is concerned, FEMA, this, that, and the other, we all bleed red blood. So
exactly,
it shouldn't matter where or who was affected. Those people need, and I hadn't even heard about that, so I'm gonna have to get on my grind this afternoon and take in my daily news. But hey, man, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to go. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you bringing me on. I was an hour and a half late, though. That's the reason why I ended up at Walmart. But
hey, I was told I was told 11 a.m. Central Time, so that's 9 a.m. for me.
Yeah. So we were 20 minutes late. We were 20 minutes late.
Wait a minute. Oh, so I thought it was 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. Where you at?
11 Central, bro.
Huh?
I said 11 Central. Where you get Eastern? I didn't even mention Eastern.
I thought I'm thinking. You know what? I wasn't listening. I know it was. I thought it was 10 o'clock Central for me because I thought you were like in the East Coast. I don't know what made me think that. So you wasn't an hour and a half late.
No, no, sir.
Oh, okay.
No, sir.
20 minutes, bro. 20 minutes.
My bad, man. My bad.
All right. Well, we'll reconvene. I guess we can agree on a date, a next date.
Yes, sir.
On Saturday mornings like this work out for me, fellas. So
okay, yeah, I'd love to have these conversations more often and whatnot, particularly between our generations and whatnot. And if we can, even bring on some people from a younger generation and whatnot, and go back and forth sometimes and whatnot, because I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, cool.
Yes. I think after we establish a few things, that'll be cool. I'm gonna holler at her honestly if she want to join us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
All right. Well, you brothers have a great day, man. Thanks for having us on more.
No problem, fam.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. And with that, family, I say peace and love.